to NADA 2025. Some will call it Snowgeddon, some will call it Snow Show, and some will call it Snowla. But we are live from the Dynatron Software booth, and we are so excited to have a panel of fabulous partners to Dynatron Software to talk a little bit about fixed operations profitability. So I'd first like to introduce our panel. I'm going to start on my left. We have Jason Yates. He is the Vice President of Fixed Operations for the Hudson Automotive Group. We have Bill Demery, VP of Fixed Operations for Tom Wood Auto Group. We have to my right, David Long, Executive General Manager for Hansel Auto Group. And we have the one and only Allie Peters, live from Cavender Auto Group. She is their Vice President of Service Operations. You know, in today's environment, we know with compression of margin that fixed operations is so incredibly important to a dealership's profitability and frankly to acquisitions of more dealerships, which I know in this group right here is definitely a big part of your growth as a group. So we want to talk about some of the strategies, we want to talk about some of the things we're seeing in the industry and have a lot of fun along the way. So I'm going to start with David. So David, you know, as an executive general manager, you are responsible for the group and you look at how has fixed operations really grown in its importance for the overall gross profit of your dealer group? And how has Dynatron helped you with that?
So first of all, it's nice to be here, especially with you, Maureen.
Thank you, I love it.
And this is a great panel. So in the 40 years I've been doing this.
Yes.
It's unbelievable.
I'm 2 years less, so.
You know, I spend a lot of my time and energy on the variable side. So when it came to not knowing a lot about how the fixed side worked relative to the variable, I needed somebody and a partner that could share with me what I didn't know. Because you don't know what you don't know, right?
Absolutely.
So to have a partner like Dynatron, I'm not just saying this because I'm on the panel either, to help me understand the language, because a lot of times a general manager that came from the variable side just doesn't get it, right? We take the same set of tools that we had in the variable side and we walk them out to the fixed side and then we wonder why they don't work.
Yes.
Well, I can tell you it's a different set of tools.
It is.
And without a partner like Dynatron helping me identify English or metric and hammer or screwdriver, I wouldn't have been able to do what we're doing right now, which has changed the landscape of the profitability of our entire company.
Thank you. Well, you know, we talked a little bit about it earlier, is that, you know, I've been 38 years in automotive. I would say 98% of general managers or dealers just never had an opportunity to sit on the fixed operations side of the business. Super entrepreneurial, very important leaders in the community, and they understand, but they also have P&L responsibility of both variable and fixed. So what I hear you saying is we've created a safe space where you feel like you can lean into us as an expert in fixed operations, not only for your GMs and your service directors, but also for yourself.
For all the GMs out there, I can't imagine running the business and not understanding the language. That'd be like going to Singapore and wondering why you're not succeeding in a foreign land that you don't know the language. So we just promoted a GSM to GM. First thing, you got to get with your performance manager and understand what you're even looking at and how to understand what you're seeing. And that's what Dynatron's done for me and continues to do.
Well, you know, I think that, Bill, that kind of leads me into the question for you. So, you know, we get your transactional data every night of all your closed repair orders. And we take very complex data and make it easy and manageable. And so when we take that data, it's only as good as it's actionable, and a key part of our proven process is our virtual coaching team and what they bring to the table, not only in best practices, but mutual accountability. Talk to me a little bit with 13 dealerships. How has the coaching really had an impact, not only for your team, but for yourself in managing those 13 stores?
You know, and it's kind of what David was talking about. It's 13 locations. It's hard for me to understand exactly what's going on in all those locations at the same time. So I can pinpoint and focus my efforts on one or two, you know, struggling stores. But to get a daily actionable EOR report from my coach Marty, which is the best coach Dynatron has, by the way, Marty will send this stuff and it's in my inbox. it feeds it to me. So it's a quick glance. I can look at all my service managers get it as well. And then I will circle some things and just send it out. Hey, what about this? Hey, what happened here? And they're like, gosh dang, how do you know these things? Well, it's because of my coach, Marty. So you can't hide from it. And that's what I love about having a virtual coach. I can't imagine not having a Marty on my team. And he is on our team, and same thing. You know, if we have a new general manager, it's the first thing I say is get on these coaching calls. Why are you not? They say, Bill, I don't understand why my ELR is down. When's the last coaching call you were on? Let's get on that together, and we'll figure out what's going on with the ELR. So it's so important. I love that the general manager. I'm 39 years. I'm a fixed guy. That's it. And I love what I do, and I know my space, and that's my space. So anytime I can help a newer general manager, that's usually the store we spend the time in. If they can get in with our coach, with Marty, just great things happen.
So anyone else like to add a little bit? I see Allie over here going, I'd love to talk about the coaching side of it. And Jason, I know you've shared that a lot with me as well. So talk a little bit if you'd like to add something related to the coaching and how that's really helped you.
Oh, absolutely. I will. I'll shout out and I always get the words wrong. So the guy that started me, that coach is Alex, and I
Start Smart Coach.
Thank you, Start Smart. Yeah, y'all have such cute names, but I always get them confused. But seriously, he was a phone call away. He was there proactively with me, saying, okay, best practice in this area is this. So if we work on this in the next few days, then we'll come back together and we'll work on that. And he really was. It almost felt like a performance coach for me, not for my group. And then to your point, I think that having everything in one spot, I've been challenged. I've been in my role for only a year and a half, so I'm still relatively new in that compared to some of the years I'm hearing over here.
Wait a minute, we're seasoned in the industry.
Absolutely. But to be able to snapshot all 8 stores that I'm responsible for, and to your point, taking data to be able to go and be intentional. So big fan, but yeah, it wouldn't be the same without the people. The reports are the reports, and they're important, but having the coach there to guide you through has been the best.
You know, when you take all that data in and then we run the algorithm over it, I mean, it does that work for you so you can spend your time. And I think that's something you've said to me, Jason, is I'm able to spend my time developing my people. That's your area of expertise. Let us have that homework done for you every morning so that you can do your coaching, and you have regional fixed ops directors, so they also have the ability to see reporting and how do we really build it. So talk a little bit from that perspective and how it's helped your regional FODs and your dealerships.
You know, we started, I was spoiled in the beginning. I had this guy for, I don't know, probably close to a couple of years. So, you know, going back to the coaching, it's invaluable. I mean, it's, like you said, reports are reports, but when you got someone that can dissect it and dissect it just for your store like that, I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Well, and you've definitely been in acquisition mode. I mean, you know, we're blessed to be in all your stores. What are you now, about 57? 55. See, I'm already ahead of the game.
She's planning the future for you.
Well, we're very blessed.
Be there, so.
Nicest compliment I ever got was from the president, T.C. Stanton, who said, you're on a line item on our acquisition checklist. So that was probably the nicest compliment I've ever gotten in 38 years. So, Bill, I know you wanted to share something there,
Well,
it looked like.
I was just going to say, the coach will see something that we don't see.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we see the numbers daily. And it's interesting, Marty he'll call me. He knows, get a hold of me early, 6:30 in the morning. My phone's ringing, it's usually Marty, because he knows that's kind of the time we can talk, because during the day I usually don't get to the phone. And he'll say, Bill, I was just on a call with your Ford store, and guess what I found? What'd you find, Marty? I sent you an email, let's talk about it. So, and I'll look, and he's all broken out. I'm like, wow, I didn't see that. That's great. And it's usually something small that we've missed, because we don't have the data, or there's just so much of it. So it's just priceless to have that. So I can now have a very confident conversation with the store on something that Marty had found.
Love it.
Marty, by the way.
Yeah, I love that they're all over the couple of dealer panels on who's the best coach. They're all amazing. You know, really, because honestly, we are blessed. I mean, they're all very seasoned. They've always been a service director, an FOD, a platform manager, a regional fixed ops director, and so they've sat in all of your seats of your team, and so we feel that's really critical to it. You know, yesterday we kind of, I've had a lot of people that reached out after yesterday's amazing panel and said, talk more about technicians. You know, that is an area, regardless of the country, where we have a real challenge. So, you know, we kind of shared yesterday that, you know, we have a 1.2 million of a gap in technicians, and that's up from 750,000. And the average age is 52 years old. And the one thing that really stuck out to me is that community colleges and high schools they're starting to not have their programs to bring young people into the business. So we have to grow them from within. So I'd love each of you to kind of share maybe a strategy that you're doing to help either in recruitment, development, or retention of your technicians that we could share with the greater family of Dynatron. Who'd like to start with me? Jason, would you like to start?
Yeah. So probably close to 3 years ago, we were probably 16, 18 stores. I went to David and TC and said, "Hey guys, we need to get real about this technician shortage." I said it's going to be a big investment, but it's going to pay off down the road. We can grow our own and all this. So I started with one guy. He was doing the recruiting, and he was also trying to build out this support specialist team can do, right? So then we hired another guy. So fast forward to today, we just hired our 5th recruiter or trainer, tech recruiter. And then we've got a trainer that goes around to each store and does live training with the express guys. And we just added 1, 2, 3 more to that team. So.
And how does it help with the retention side? Because you're obviously developing them, so has it improved your retention?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, our retention last year was actually improved throughout the year. I think it ended the year at 64%, and we're down to, the last report was, 51, 52%.
That's awesome. Great. Allie, how about you? Something that you're doing in the area of technicians?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are tied into the local high school, and we are also tied into 2 of the local community colleges. So that is kind of the idea of opening the door, so giving field trips and making sure that they have the tools, being able to donate things as they need them. And then we've been able to hire out of that, which has been nice. Now, I will say we do have a very competitive pay plan, and I genuinely believe that we have competitive hours. So I think that kind of that switch from bell to bell, 6 days a week, I don't prosper in that.
You need to
I'm not
refresh,
going to make my
right?
team. Yeah, just be
Rejuvenate.
effective while you're there. I mean, 40, 45 hours a week. I don't think that we should be different than other industries in that if we're being effective. So I do think that we have a really nice, like an entryway to the tech side. Our areas of opportunity is really having a structured process, so similar to what you're talking about is that training. Right now it's come on in, we're going to put you with someone who knows what they're doing, and hopefully that person is the right person to work with you and you learn. But that is really one of our 2025 goals, is to be able to add that structure and that process so we can keep the great people that we've brought in. And so retention is something that we're working on. But and I will say my most favorite compliment on that side of things is when someone who works for us brings their friend, and we have seen quite a bit of that over the last year, which has been really nice.
Love that.
Awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
So I know with our technician capacity and forecasting tool, which is a part of what we do, that really has come into play, is what I've been hearing from our dealers and our groups of, when do we need to forecast for when we need to add technicians, how do we help them to see that pathway? Like, I want to buy a house. How do you get there? And you can show them how they get there. So what other tools and things have you done, Bill, that you have found have really helped, like around TechCF and that you've done?
Yeah, so the TechCF is a great tool, and what we like to do is at the end of the year talk to the technician and look at how much money they made, how much money do you want to make next year, and we plug those dollars in and say, okay, so that's an extra 1 hour a week. what can I do to help you get 1 extra hour
Yeah.
a week to get what you want out of life? And that's a new house or a new boat, hopefully a new car. I'd like to keep them in
Yeah.
debt.
I want them tied to the story. Yeah, exactly.
But by utilizing those tools is to help them get better. So in that 1 hour could be, hey, I struggle in brakes. We've just launched a training app. It's not ours, it's a third party, but it's a 4-minute training on their phone every day. So we've been piloting this for about 90 days, and our take rate's over 90%, still continues over the 3 months. So they like it. It's a points system, and it's leadership and tech training. I even take it, and I can tell you I struggle on steering and suspension. And with my
I love that he
struggles-
can still do that though
my
after all these
struggles
years.
are knowledge lift. Because we have a baseline that's AI, so it keeps feeding me the same dang things I keep missing, because I'm not getting any smarter. But the lift is 16% just on electrical.
Sure.
And we have 18%
Wow.
in 3 months. So our Jeff Wood had asked me, hey, are we getting smarter? I said, well, Jeff, they're still taking them, so I assume they are. Maybe I'm not. But then I got the data point that says we are getting smarter. So investing back in the express lanes. And we had a master tech said, hey, yeah, I really don't want to take the app. I don't want to take the test. I said, great. I walked out, I get my daily look, and I said, hey, can you help me real quick? He said, yeah. So I pulled up the app, looked at it, I said, help me answer this question, because I can't seem to get it right. And he missed it. And I said, oh, that's right, you don't need to take these.
You
So
don't,
I
I
swiped and
love
walked out.
it. But it makes it real. So what I hear there is, one, as a leader, you're doing it yourself, right?
Yes.
And you're setting the example and you're holding your people accountable. And I also hear you saying it's about small incremental changes for exponential results. And when people ask me, what does Dynatron do? At the core of it, that's what we do. It's about incremental changes. You got to take the market data and help, and you can do that with technicians, service advisors, and everyone. So David, how about a little bit from Hansel on what you're doing around technicians that you feel has really had an impact?
So 2 different strategies. One, the acquisition strategy. We've created a whole sort of lifestyle video and what we do for our technicians. The technicians in most of the stores that I grew up in were really just, they'd work and go home. Our technicians are engaged and involved in everything. They're in our monthly recap meetings. They're included on the awards trips. Right? We'll be every month and a half or 2 months, we go away and we have overnights. There's a technician or 2 in each one of the overnights, right? So they're engaged in the bigger picture. So that's on the retention side, just from the communication and the involvement. That's really helped. But the other thing is the career path side, right? We're attracting a lot of young people that are coming in for a job, not a career.
Yeah.
And then it's my job as the leader to sell what's possible in our industry.
Yeah.
So when I'm back in the lube techs and I'm talking to them, and did you know, and I'll look at I have a technician made $187,000 last year, right? How'd they do that?
Yeah.
Well, here's the career path on how they got there.
Yeah.
Like they could go to school for 4 years and not find a job that
Right.
could do
Oh,
that
yeah.
for the career that they already chose because they love it. But then they get out of it because nobody's painted the picture.
Right.
Right, so that's the retention piece.
Yeah.
Love it.
And I think that's making all the difference in the world.
Interestingly enough, I had the privilege of helping to launch a robotics program in our middle school. So it really was about getting kids to think about STEM. And last June, had the privilege to go up to Northwood University and speak with students, and had a round table of 10, and ironically, a young man from Flower Mound, Texas, believe it or not, was in my group. He was at the other high school, and he goes, oh my gosh, that's a world ranking team. Like, he was so excited. But it was, what struck me at that table, and I'd shared this yesterday, was these young people are like, I don't see it as a career. I think it's something that I might do, and then I'm gonna go do something else. But what really struck me was they said, I don't think my parents understand. And so that is something that I think is an area for us as an industry is to going deeper down into the middle school to the high school, especially if they're not doing the programs.
Yeah.
But how do we educate parents? Because our technicians and service advisors and the whole parts team, they make a very good living.
Yes.
And I think that's something interesting. Do you have any thoughts on that, and what you guys think we might be able to do there?
Well, that's as part of the partnership we have with one of the school districts in our town. The CTE program is also in the middle schools,
Wow.
and so getting the opportunity, they actually do a parents' night in the middle school years, to be able to bring the parents in and start to talk through that. So being able to give them that information and have that partnership,
Love it.
I am hopeful that that can begin to change. Because I still remember when I interviewed to work as a service advisor, one of the first questions they asked is, what would your parents say to this?
It's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
It was so insightful from, junior and seniors in high school sitting around this table. So I thought it was interesting. And I know you're doing some interesting things with Indiana.
We are. So we've teamed up with Pursuit Indiana, which is a state-funded, government-subsidized program that will help us get into the students that are in 11th, 12th grade. So 11th grade, they get college credits to come and spend time in our dealership 3 days a week. What we've done is we've taken one technician that's aging out and wanted to retire but wants to stay busy. We have him in night school right now, becoming a certified teacher. So he will lead the program and teach the curriculum from Ivy Tech. So Ivy Tech provides all the curriculum for us to teach the program. So we have 16 kids already identified for August of this year that will start in the program.
Wow.
We believe there's a waiting list of over 60 kids in our market that want to be a part of a program like this. So what's the take rate? Like you said, David, it's our job now to sell the family that this is a great living. And maybe it's not a technician, maybe it's a service advisor, maybe it's sales. I interviewed this young guy. We have our first one kind of beta testing it. His name is Sully. And Sully comes to us, really tall young man, and he's in our express bay. And we were talking one day, and Sully's into cars. He loves cars. And I said, have you ever spent some time at our Porsche store, right? And he's at our Nissan store. And he said, yeah, I saw the Porsche store. And he said, do you think I could ever sell cars at Porsche? I love that. This kid is 16, 17 years old, and he's already envisioning what ifs. And what if I be a technician for a while? Can I go up and be a salesperson? Can I do these things? So you're really opening up opportunities of a career path for these youngsters, and that's what we're gonna have to do. And we have to find them young and bring them up.
Yep.
So I think for our last question, then we're going to have some final thoughts. We've talked about technicians, we've talked about executive leadership, we've talked about regional leadership and how it supports all your team. Let's talk a little bit about service advisors. One of the things that we talk about is they don't know what they don't know, right? And when we look at your transactional data coming in, we know that we can see the below the line discounts. That's when we've changed the labor or we have adjusted something on the parts. And that is something you just can't see in the DMS. But it's about educating the service advisor to understand what that impact is on the dealership, which seems like it's very small, again, incremental, but how that impacts not only the dealership but themselves and their livelihood. So tell me how compliance, because compliance for us, we wouldn't just let everybody go out and sell a vehicle for what they're going to sell it for. You as the executive leadership set the pricing strategy of your dealership, and we need to adhere to it. How has that compliance helped you in your stores to really develop your service advisors? Who'd like to go first? Allie looks like she'd love
Well,
to.
I feel bad. I went first last time.
That's okay.
I feel like I'm hogging. I think it's just to your point. They don't know what they don't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. I still don't know what I don't know, and so I think it's just having that transparency and that visibility. Because when the conversations begin to happen, they go, "Oh, I didn't know that." Again, the person who taught me this. The person who taught them this, and we never
Very
asked
true.
why, right?
Yes.
So changing that, this is the way we've done it mentality, and then being able to expose it to them in a way that's just informational and educational. I think that's been a change.
One of the things that I have found very successful for our group is we take those service advisors and send them to NCM service manager classes. So when they go through a service manager class, they come back with, wow, now I realize.
Now this is why my boss is asking me.
I realize why you were yelling at me for this. And it's been
Yeah.
a great lesson across
Yes.
our group. So I have a list, I keep a spreadsheet of who has gone to what classes.
I love
and my
it.
goal is all 66 advisors we have goes through a service manager 1-2
I
class.
love
I
it.
love that.
Yeah,
And
that's
just piggybacking off of that, I actually, starting in August, one of my passion is people. That's why I do my job. And so one of the things...
Hard to tell.
I know. It's really... I started doing an advisor training class in our organization.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, I'm going to do it first. I'm going to see how this goes, and then eventually can work towards having someone who's responsible for this. But I did have that slide at the end. So the last section, it's quick, it's fast, but it's financial 101 because most people don't know. And it was the cost of, what if you discount $1, how much do you have to sell? And their eyes.
It's crazy.
And then they said, well, what about military discounts? Should we stop doing that? No. We worked that. There are things, there's why, but we wanted you to understand it.
Well, and it is a partnership. We have a great partnership with NCM. We actually do a fixed operations insight every quarter because financial statement based, we're transactional database, right? So you bring it together, makes it stronger and really attacking fixed operations. So how about David and Jason, love to have a thought from you on the service advisor side.
Yeah, so, just like Bill said, you got it at your fingertips, and you start calling advisors in on a consistent basis. If you do it consistently and you just say, okay, this is how it's going to be, it fixes itself pretty quick. But there's so many dollars that folks don't know they're losing because, the advisor's going to change the retail sell amount on the labor, and then you're going to go, hey, can you help me on this part? So the part counter guy's going to discount the part down, and then the customer's going to use a 10 or 20% coupon.
Your shop supplies goes down.
I love it. Everybody's really getting educated. I love it. David, how about you?
What I think about is how many salespeople talk to 12 to 15 customers a day and generate $100,000 worth of gross a month? Not many, right?
Not many.
If any.
Yep.
Right?
I agree.
Right,
So-
mic drop.
But we spend all our time, our energy, and our resources training somebody that's going to talk to one or two customers a day if they're lucky. Like, how does that make sense to anybody?
It does not.
It doesn't make any
not.
sense.
Well, and think of it. I mean, a walk around in the sales process is a walk around in the MPI with our technicians, but also the service advisor, which is a beautiful analogy to how do we bring the things we learn from each other, right?
And everybody needs a coach.
Everybody needs a coach. I love it. Okay, well, we're going to finish out. You guys are amazing. I love it. I could be here all afternoon. So we often get asked, if a dealer or a corporate FOD or just a service director said to you, why Dynatron? What would you tell them?
I would just say, and I've done this a few times, every day, every second you wait is costing you thousands of dollars of increased profits or increased gross. And they just don't understand. But once they really look at it and go through the system, it's pretty much a no-brainer. They usually hop right in. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do without it.
Thank you. Bill, how about you?
I think we have to value our partners, and what's the ROI for us and the value of that time. So anytime you can have data put in front of you without having to have an executive assistant and train them how to do it every morning to find out where is that 1/10 of an hour. The value of that 1/10 of an hour or a 5 minutes pace between a parts guy. Like I wouldn't have a store without Dynatron, and we've been on the program for many years and the development and the different things that are coming. So it's a true partner, and it's a partner that's always adding on as well. Like we just
You just
was
got to
upstairs
see.
and listened to something we've been dreaming about for a while that's
It's
actually come to
coming.
fruition. So
Yes.
that's what a true partner does. They listen, they adapt, and they overcome what the obstacles that we have.
Thank you.
That's a great answer.
David,
With two. I got two answers.
you can,
One,
2 is good.
because TC Stanton has it as a check line item when he buys a store. So that's got to be enough testimony for
Right,
anybody.
Nicest compliment ever.
But the other one, that is a good compliment.
Yeah.
But the next one, he's a wonderful guy. The next one is everybody needs a coach. I'll just go back to that. Like, if you want to get healthy, get a nutritionist coach, right? A health and fitness coach. If you want to fix your business, get a coach that's a subject matter expert. Like, how could that not make sense, right?
Yeah. Thank you. Allie.
Yes. Well, I will say I am still learning all of the fun things that Dynatron has a year in, and it was fun to see that, so I'm very excited. But for me, it was the moment that we partnered with Dynatron, the support we had from our coaching team, the data and the visibility that we had to go and be actionable with. instead of having to take 3 hours to pull reports and then put it in an Excel. And by the time you're done with that, it's like, I just need a break from looking at it. I don't want to even go and work on it right now. We'll do that tomorrow. So I think just streamlining and efficiency and convenience for having all the data where you need it and in a way that you can actually make moves off of.
No doubt.
Well, I have to say, we thank you so much, one, for coming and getting a chance to see our new advanced analytics platform that is coming, ROI, so we're very excited. We know you love what we have already, but I really appreciate you doing that first. And then, of course, being here. So thank you so much, Jason, Bill, David, and Allie. We want to wish you all a wonderful NADA. So with that, thank you for joining us at Dynatron Software. My name is Maureen Martin, our Vice President of Strategic Alliances, and it's been my privilege to be with you all today in our panel. So thank you very much.
Thank you.